Welcome back to another episode of Mastering Master Mode. We start out this episode by taking a break from sorting out all of my chests and doing a bit of fishing down in the underground. While fishing, the princess NPC moved in and I got the achievement Real Estate Agent for having all available NPCs living in my world at the same time. Then, just as I was about to finish sorting out all of my chests, I got invaded by more pirates. This parrot snuck up on me and gave me my first death of the event. And then I got taken out by the pirate captain not too long after that. I finished the event off in style though by taking out a flying Dutchman, and then I headed right on over to my goblin tinkerer to reforge my weapons and get stronger enchantments. While at the goblin tinkerer, a Martian probe spawned, so I figured now is as good a time as any to trigger it and start the Martian Madness event. What I didn't realize though was the Martians would spawn immediately. I thought there would be a bit of a timer like with the pirates or the goblin army where it tells you that they spawned and then they come a few minutes later. Instead, the Martians invaded immediately. The Martians are an incredibly strong event. They have a lot of attacks that can go through walls, so just sitting in my house is not the most effective strategy. On top of that, they have a lot of health, so even if I do just hide inside my house and attack with my crystal serpent, I'm not doing enough damage to take them out quickly. It would be a very long event if I did that. I used to really like the Martian event until I played it in Master Mode. In normal mode, this event is super easy, but in Master Mode with the increased health and damage from all the enemies, it is super hard. Not only that, but the UFO mini-boss has been changed in the latest version of Terraria, so you can't just cheese it anymore by standing in your house. A lot of its attacks will go through walls now, instead of being stopped by the roof or walls of your house, meaning you can't just hide in your house and hit it with a weapon that goes through walls. Back before Terraria 1.4, that used to be my go-to strategy. I would wait for a UFO to spawn, lure it into position so that I would not be able to take any damage, and then slowly take it out with a weapon that goes through the walls like a yo-yo or the crystal vial shard. Then by the time I had taken one out, another will spawn almost immediately, and I was able to farm it for its drops, which are pretty good, including the Cosmic Car Key, one of the only mounts that has infinite flight, as well as the Xeno Staff, Influx Waver, Electrosphere Launcher, and a bunch of other weapons. In this mage playthrough, some of the weapons that I'd be looking for would be the laser machine gun or the charged blaster cannon. Both of these are super powerful magic weapons that could help me out a lot in my future boss fights. Unfortunately for me, the first UFO that spawns in this event absolutely demolishes me. I haven't fought this guy in a while, and it shows. I get hit by every single attack that it throws at me. First I get hit by its machine guns, then by its rockets, and finally I get blasted by its mega laser, and the combination of all three of these is way too much for me to handle. The nice thing about the Martian Madness event is that it's similar to the pirates and the goblins, in that you have to kill a certain number of enemies before the event goes away. It's not time-based like the solar eclipse or the blood moon. That means if I really wanted to, I could wait until more UFOs spawn and only try and take out the UFOs to progress the meter. I don't plan on doing that, however, since the first UFO absolutely destroyed me. Speaking of UFOs destroying me, the second one that spawns is where I learned the crucial lesson that the UFOs do in fact shoot through walls now. Both the giant laser that it shoots directly down and its missiles can hit you through walls. This is super unfortunate for me since I was planning on trying to cheese a UFO so that I could get some of its drops. With that new development in mind, I'm not so sure that I can actually even take out a UFO now. For the next UFO that spawned, I tried staying far away from it and hoping that would help. Unfortunately, the laser machine gun that it uses has quite a decent range, and running far away from it causes me to run into all kinds of other enemies, which end up taking me out after the UFO weakened me. Immediately after spawning, UFO number 4 comes in, and this time I'm still in my house. So I'm thinking maybe I can actually cheese the UFO with a taller house. The big thing that I still have to worry about is its laser, but the machine gun and rockets aren't actually able to hit me when I stand in the bottom level of my house. Unfortunately, the way the laser works, it pushed me out the right side of my house and I wasn't able to get back in. So I gave it another go at being as far away as I could. This had the unfortunate consequence of causing the UFO to despawn, but it's not like I had done a ton of damage to it anyways, and another one spawns very soon after. The biggest issue I have with the UFO is that it attacks so fast. The lasers are super quick and have a wide spread, so it's super hard to dodge them. And there's not really a tell that it's gonna shift from the big laser into its little lasers, other than the big laser shutting off. So if you have it off screen, you can't actually tell that it's shifting from the big laser into the little ones. The rockets are probably the easiest to dodge since they're pretty slow moving, although they do home in on you for a little bit, so you have to be careful about that. Using the Spectre hood, I'm able to get a pretty decent fight in on this UFO. So far, I've been able to out-heal it, even though I've taken a ton of hits from it. One thing to note about the UFO is that it's similar to the Flying Dutchman in the Pirate Invasion, in that it has 4 different health bars for 4 different cannons, 2 of which are lasers and 2 of which shoot the missiles. Taking one of them out will stop it from using that weapon. So the fight does technically get easier as you advance through it. You may have noticed just there that there were a lot less rockets in that volley, and that's because I did manage to take out one of its turrets, and the second one follows very quickly behind. That means there's no more rocket phase, and the UFO will actually just sit there for a couple seconds trying to fire rockets when it has no ability to. This is obviously very helpful for me since it allows me to deal basically free damage to the UFO. Both of the laser turrets are getting pretty low, and I'm actually starting to think I might have a shot at taking this UFO out. Of course, taking out all 4 of its turrets does not eliminate the UFO, it only puts it into phase 2. Phase 2 is pretty tough. Since it has no more turrets, it only shoots the big laser. It goes from the left to the right shooting the laser, creates some distance, and then shoots the laser back from the left to the right. That means you have to think quick on your feet and either move left or right to avoid the laser, and I'm just not able to get a grip on it fast enough, and there are other enemies in the way that end up taking me out while I'm trying to dodge the large laser. One thing I did learn is that for single targets, the heat ray is actually a better weapon for me than my Shadow Beam Staff. It deals more damage and shoots a bit faster than the Shadow Beam Staff, so it allows me to heal up quicker. Of course, it doesn't go through enemies, which is why I said it's good for single target and not for multiple targets. I get another UFO to spawn, and I'm thinking this could be my last one since I'm pretty close to actually completing this event. That means if I want to get a drop from a UFO in this event, I'm gonna have to take out this one. For some reason, even though I figured out against the last UFO that the Shadow Beam Staff is not as good as the Heat Ray, I don't switch to the Heat Ray. Instead, I just stick with the Shadow Beam Staff, thinking that the multiple targets that it's hitting on the UFO does better damage than the single target that the Heat Ray would do. This is not the case, as I just mentioned, and you can tell based on how little I actually make it through the UFO this time. I end up getting taken out by one of its barrages of lasers. I thought that was going to be the last UFO, so I decided I'm just going to sit in my house and finish off this event as quickly as possible. While sitting in the house is not guaranteed to keep me safe in this event, it does still keep me relatively safe. There are still a lot of projectiles that do get blocked by the walls. Plus, if I stand away from the door with it open, I can shoot the Shadow Beam Staff out and hit all the enemies as they're walking up to my door. I do actually get one more UFO to spawn, but I let it deal a whole bunch of damage to me before I even react to it, and by the time I'm up to my platform to fight it, I'm at about half health. A single barrage of lasers and rockets is enough to take me out at that point. That UFO was pretty much guaranteed to be the last one since I'm so far through the event now, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to take one more quick death to a random Martian drone that homes in and explodes on me. I decided enough was enough, so I throw on my Spectre mask to deal extra damage, stand inside my house to avoid most attacks, and hit enemies through the wall with the Crystal File Shard. Finishing the Martian Madness event gives me the achievement Tinfoil Hatter, and that will bring us to the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And if you did, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment down below, and subscribe for more DanSquared action. I'll see you all next week for more Mastering Master Mode. Thanks for watching.